Welcome back to the Joust About Careers podcast. This is the place to learn about careers from the people who are actually doing the work every day. I'm your host, Brian Brott, and this week's guest is 2009 Van Buren graduate Evan Shank, a senior IT general controls and TBM business analyst with Orlando Health. In this episode, Evan shares how he has attained an IT career despite not having a degree in IT, how he has used LinkedIn to propel his career, the value of certifications in the workplace, and much more. Whether you are interested in an IT or business management career or are still exploring your options, I hope that what Evan shares today will help all of you make better career decisions and have fulfilling career journeys. Enjoy the show. Evan, thank you very, very much for joining us today. And I'd love to hear about how a typical day looks for you as a senior IT general controls and TBM business analyst. You're going to have to explain some of those letters and all of that. So how does that look for you?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on, Mr. Broad. It's great to be here today to help explain kind of what my career path has been. And it's a little bit of a different career path. So there's a lot of acronyms that are going to be involved in a couple different areas. Specifically, I work in for Orlando Health IT department. And within that department, I'm involved in a few different areas, specifically with IT general controls, which stands for, which is the acronym ITGC. And then TBM stands for technology business management. So there's my day's quite packed full with both roles. One role, ITGC, is going to be more in a technical role where we're evaluating specific IT policy controls. That's going to be our risk management side of things, where we're really looking to identify specific risks that we have in our environment. Anything that's IT security related, anything that could be also that impacts our business, which is going to be the other side of my role, which is the technology business management side, where that side is really going to be where I get to link the business between IT. We're acting as a liaison where it's about treating IT like it's its own business. So we're managing budgets on that side of things. We're tracking the return on technology investments on that area of the business. And then we're making sure that projects we run actually move the needle for our company, for our forecast and future. So that side of things is really going to be the money management and financial impact of IT. The IT general controls, I would look at that more of a glorified auditing kind of day, where we're really looking back into the past to see if we've done the correct things, and then we're going to measure them to what we believe needs to happen to continue to improve. So my role is going to be a hybrid kind of role. I think typically when, especially if you have some career-minded people that would like to look into going to IT technology, they're going to be a lot more focused on one specific niche or one specific genre, whether that be cybersecurity. They could also go into solutions engineering or solutions architecture, which those are really advanced roles that require a lot of advanced degrees to get into. I think with what I've done and the career path that I've crafted, it's going to be a little bit of the opposite of that, right? Where I actually don't have an IT a college degree. I don't have a formal IT background. I really figured out a way to scratch and claw my way into this industry just by figuring out ways to get my foot in the door in areas that I felt like I could excel at. So I didn't start in IT. I actually got my shot to get into this career path through supply chain, where I did some work for Freddie Mac, the federal government housing organization, and that's what really got my career started in IT. Was being in really pressure-filled business of supply chain, starting to understand the corporate language. And from there, I was able to start crafting what I really wanted to do, which was breaking into the IT world. And what I would consider, Mr. Brott, when you look at my resume and what I'm currently doing, I'd be considered a Swiss Army knife in my industry, right? It's I don't have a specific niche. I wouldn't consider myself a SME or what we consider a subject matter expert within just one thing. I'm still fairly early in the trajectory of where I want to go. So what I've done is I've created some exposure to various different aspects of information technology, and that's where I've gotten the opportunity to really make a name for myself. Although I lack the formal education, which is what if anyone were going to look at my resume, is what you would see as the story being told.
We're going to get more into that here in a second, but I would like to dig a little deeper on some of those things you
Yeah,
just said.
yeah.
How many people are there in a position like yours at your company? Are you the one and only, or is this something where there are 10 of you and you're working as a team to do all those things you just described?
So we do have three people on the IT general control side that are proactively assessing risk at the moment. I will say that is just one pillar of our risk management program. There are the other two teams specifically that we work very closely with, which is going to be general. I'm sorry, GRC, which is governance, risk, and compliance, which is made up of about a team of about 12 people. That's going to be the team that really overlooks the overarching compliance of our IT security program. And then we do work really closely with cybersecurity, which would be considered IT security operations. And they have an entire team too, probably made up about 15 to 20 people. In some organizations, you're going to see all those three different teams maybe considered one team. So I would say a good rule of thumb for a comp or a department such as ours, which we have over 1,200 people in our information technology department.
Wow.
We have a good 30 to 50 people that actively participate in the entire enterprise program. But as far as our specified scopes and roles, yeah, we work in a very smaller, intimate team. That's not very we're not very big, so we really have a very smaller team when we start to really narrow into what our daily responsibilities are.
I'm sure that's nice to have that team to lean on. And again, just, shows that students are going to have to, if they're going into a career like this, they have to be ready to work with others and
Absolutely.
communicate effectively and so forth. So, okay, good. I appreciate you sharing that. So, as we start digging into how you've ended up where you are today, when you were a senior at Van Buren High School, what were your plans? Now, looking at LinkedIn, I looked back at your education, and it looks like straight out of high school, you went to the University of Toledo, and you were maybe majoring in physical education. And so, what were your plans when you graduated? And then, how did those plans change, or what led to those changes?
Yeah. Well, Mr. Bryan, I can be honest. As a 18-year-old graduating from Van Buren High School as a senior, I didn't have any plans. Right? I mean, my direct plans, and I remember very vaguely, but it was just get to college and try to survive that first year, right? And it was, I'll be completely transparent, and it was at that point in my life, it was a lot about sociability, trying to, I spent a lot of time, I think, trying to fit in socially in those years of my life, where things really started to change. And I owe all the credit to my lovely wife, Brooklyn, right? So she was the change that really set me to start thinking career wise. I can't honestly say that it was anything within inside myself, especially within those younger years, right? It really took being around someone that was willing to be patient enough with me to get to those years to where I was really going to start to take it seriously. And that's when I started to take it really seriously, is when I settled down, got married, and had a family, had a daughter, right? So there's just a lot of the life things that come along with also growing up out of high school, getting out of college. It puts some extra pressure on you. To say you're either going to grow up or you're not at some point, and that's really how it went for me. It was yeah, in the background, I've always been really focused on trying to move up in my career. But I'll be honest, a lot of it had just come with just the overall, the life challenges that have come along, the different stages in life that have come along that have just naturally propelled me into taking career more seriously. And I would say that that was in really, pretty far removed out of college, even at the ages of 24, 25, where you really start to sit there and say, well, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? I got an opportunity when I was managing the Hampton Inn up in Oregon, Ohio, to actually teach at Owens for a semester, to teach the hospitality 101 course there. That gave me really just that 6 months of being able to stand up in front of students like you do every day, Mr. Brott. Actually was, I consider, the final piece to my career development, because it gave me the confidence to stand up in front of people and talk, which is how I ended up actually starting to carve out my role on the business side of technology, which is standing up in front of a lot of directors, a lot of AVPs, and delivering your message. So there's been so much that has been gone into what I am today. I can't really point to one thing.
Right. Well, and I think that you're just evidence of experience. Experience matters, whether it's positive or negative. Like you said, it's going to propel you one way or another and help you get to where you want to be. So, going back to education, you did end up with a bachelor's degree from Ashford University, Sports Management and Recreation.
Yeah.
And then you went into working in hospitality. You've been in sales. Now, obviously, you're in healthcare. You know, you're not using per se your degree. Do you feel like that was still worthwhile? Or, if you were to do it all over again, would there have been a different education path? Or do you feel like you could have just, you know, there are pathways into a career like yours that wouldn't require education? What do you now see as you look back at that?
Yeah, I don't have any regrets. I wouldn't change anything. And here's why. Are there thoughts that, hey, if I would have the extra accreditation or the extra validation in terms of certifications or degrees, would that help me right now, in terms of, maybe working my way up a little faster? Absolutely, it would. So I think that that advice is still needed, to say, hey, if you know what you really want to do, and you know the pathway to get there, create a very strict pathway for you to get there, and follow, what degrees and certifications that you really know that you need. For someone like me, my story is gonna definitely be the opposite, which was, no, I haven't used my, well, I can't say that I haven't used some of the things I've learned from the degree, but I am in a completely opposite field from what that degree ultimately allows me to obtain. But what it allowed me to do, um, you're going to you're going to have some of those insecurities, right? To where if you're applying to some positions to where you're not aligned with the degree you have, it's going to be hard to have the confidence sometimes to go out and do that or to pursue that. But it's really allowed me to do, it's allowed me to be strategic and figure out certain ways to get my foot in the door if I'm really interested in something that I'm not aligned to with my degree. It's allowed, and it's also forced me to be really intentional in the way I network, whether it be on LinkedIn or whether it be just any kind of networking professionally, right? When you don't have that extra paper to back you up and you're competing in the job market against people who do, you have to figure out a way to network and market yourself a lot better, a lot more intentional. And you have to really sell your social skills. I think you have to sell your leadership skills, and you have to be able to, basically just sell your character at that point. And what I would say is that I've had a lot of luck figuring out how to network with the right people on LinkedIn. It's a very I would consider it a very simple concept to be able to track down the most important people you need to talk to get your foot in the door. And I've had a lot of luck being able to get that first step of just being able to get noticed and have the opportunity to come in to talk to them. And once you're getting your foot in the door, then it's all on you, right? It's after that, the pressure, the perform that gets put on me, and to actually sell myself. And once you have that opportunity, and you do that well, you'll recognize that typically the people that you're talking to on the other side, they're humans, right? They're people first before they are managers or before they're directors or before they're the whatever high level job position title they have. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be speaking to an empathetic human being, someone that probably has had challenges to get to where they are at today that hasn't been perfect, that they've had to scratch and claw to get to where they're at too. So it's about finding the connections with the other people on the side of the phone, which is the most important thing.
I love everything you said there. One thing that, I think you talked about luck a couple times.
Yeah,
I think luck is often, or effort is often disguised as luck.
oh, sure.
You made the effort to make those connections, to build those relationships. And, the idea that, yes, be the right person. A
Yeah,
degree does not make a person successful.
no,
Being the right person makes a person successful. And like you said, with the degree, that can sometimes support that. But I
yeah,
think it always begins with the person.
yes.
And, I love how you've talked about building your network. Can you talk a little bit about, so I'm sorry, I guess I'm stumbling around here.
No, you're good.
As you look at how you've built those relationships on LinkedIn and gotten your foot in the door,
Yeah.
can you talk about a time where maybe there was a relationship that you had built in the past and that then helped you in the future as you continued on your career journey?
Yeah, 100%. So LinkedIn, it is such a great tool and resource to use. I will say I'm not a heavy poster on LinkedIn. I've really used it as a platform to stay up to date on trends that are going on in my industry, but as well building connections with a lot of the recruiting services, especially in here in Central Florida. I think that my family and I, we moved down to Orlando during COVID. And it was kind of on a whim. I'm not it was, hey, we need a fresh start. We need something to really start to plan career wise. And the big key to me coming down to a new state to find work was LinkedIn. And it was starting with, hey, who are the top recruiters in LinkedIn, are in Central Florida that work in information technology or supply chain. So at that time, I was still open to different avenues. And that's where I started building relationships first, was with recruiters, with all these different recruiting agencies. And from there, I found built some really good foundational relationship with some contacts at Culture Solutions, here in Central Florida, Kim Carr and Alyssa Sloan, who helped me get my first gig with Orlando Health in the technology business management side. And then from there, that obviously has propelled me into more of the technical role now. So yes, absolutely. It started with people and it will continue to go with people the further we go.
Right. In a career like yours, is there a lot of travel and things, or are you pretty much in one place all day, every day, 365?
Yeah, so right now I'm in one place. We do have a main team member center where we work out of, so we don't actually work out of the hospitals or any of the medical sites. So we do have our own human resources building that I currently work out of, um, we're expanding exponentially. So I'm actually 3 days at home and 2 days in the office. So I'm in a hybrid role in terms of location. But we are expanding exponentially. We've just purchased 6 hotels on the Space Coast, so the Daytona, Cape Canaveral area. And we're starting to now expand up into Alabama now. So Baptist Health in Alabama. So we expect some travel to happen in the near future. Also in Puerto Rico. So there's a lot going on in terms of expansion goes, which in that case for mergers and acquisitions, it's a lot of pressure, and it creates a lot of urgency in information technology, because they have a lot of security, cybersecurity issues that go on in hotels. We wanted to get in line with what we do. So that involves a lot of in-person meetings with some stakeholders to really apply some pressure to get them to fall in line.
Right. Now, you had talked about how, you went to college initially and ultimately haven't used your degree, but I think you're also a great example of you said that you might get some additional education. And I always try to impress upon students that, just because you don't go to college directly out of high school doesn't mean you can never go to college.
Right.
Do you foresee yourself pursuing additional education? Do you think that'll be in the form of certifications? Will that be full-blown degrees? Where do you see maybe education continuing to help you as you advance in your career?
So I do, and that's a great question, Mr. Broughton. I think something that really goes unsaid, especially I think once kids get out of college, after they finish up their bachelor's degree, it's, hey, find a company that's going to pay for it for you. All right, find a company that's going to pay for your continue to pay for your education. Luckily, I'm connected to a company that is willing to do that, and offers that for me. So. I think that kind of question, it really, you have to sit back and evaluate your own personal expenses, your own personal financial health, and what you really want out of life. My wife and I, we have a 7-year-old at the moment. We have her in a bunch of extracurricular activities. We want her to continue to have the most prosperous life we can. So the only way to do that continuously in the future is sometimes you got to continue that education. Right now, I'm working on a few different risk management certifications. I will say certifications, once you're in the door, um, can take you just as far as the formal education can take you, right? So I would say if you have a niche and you have specific certifications that you can obtain, those are going to hold just as much weight as, say, your master's degree will in some of these instances, because they're narrowed down scopes of actually of specific niches. And people, these companies, they look for that. They really look for subject matter experts who are going to be provide expertise in a certain area. So that's where I'm at right now, is really looking at certain certifications that are going to hold the most weight.
Yeah, and I love how you say, that value. You're bringing value to that company. They've
Yes,
invested in you, and they want to continue to invest in you to make sure you stay there and continue bringing that value to them. So, yeah, I love that idea of, yeah, those companies that will do that for their employees. I think that's a great thing for everyone involved.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, as we wrap up and you think about everything you've gone through, it's been a journey to get to where you are. What do you know now about careers that you wish you had known when you were back in high school?
Yeah. Just some advice. Yeah, it's take it seriously as soon as you can. I think it's, oh, I lost the camera again one more time. At 16, 17, and 18, that's a lot easier said than done, right? And I think even now, so more with social media wasn't as big when I was in high school. I think the kids growing up now are going to have a lot more difficulty taking it as seriously as sooner than what they need to. So, that's the biggest advice, is looking back. I think I knew that back then, so I can't say it's necessarily something I wish I would have known. Teachers like yourself, all the wonderful teachers at Van Buren, they try to warn us, right? It's hey guys, as soon as you can take this seriously, the better off you're going to be. I would say it's that is the one piece of advice I think, and what I hope kids nowadays that they know. It's I spent 3 or 4 years playing catch up before I got married, before I had children. It was right in my older 20s. It was, hey, it's time to catch up because I spent a lot of time wasting 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. So that is the biggest thing, Mr. Broad, is take it seriously as soon as you can. Listen to your teachers and to the guidance you're receiving at school.
Evan, I think that's great advice. I really appreciate you sharing about your career journey. Very insightful. Again, I love these ones where it's not just a straight path, because
Yeah.
for 99% of people, it's not a straight path. But I think a lot of people think that it is, that haven't experienced it yet. So
Yeah.
I love what you're doing. Congratulations on what you've accomplished so far, and good luck as you continue on your career journey.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Broughton. Best of luck to you. Thank you.
If you liked this Joust About Careers episode, you can explore previous episodes and highlights to learn about even more careers of Van Buren graduates. To be sure you don't miss upcoming episodes, please click subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform so you'll know when the next episode is released. Thank you for spending a portion of your day with us, and we hope you will continue to prepare for your future by learning just about careers.